How much land does a man need? Chapter 2. Not far from the village lived a lady with a small estate of about 300 acres. She had always been on good terms with the peasants and had never ill treated them. But then she had taken on an old soldier to manage her estate, and he proceeded to harass the peasants by constantly imposing fines. No matter how careful Packham was, one of his horses might stray into the lady's oats, or a cow might sometimes wander into her garden, or some calves might venture out onto her meadows. Every time this happened, he would have to pay a fine. Packham would pay up and then he would go and swear at his family and beat them. All that summer, Packham had to put up with a great deal from that manager. So he welcomed winter when it came and his cattle had to be kept in the shed. Although he begrudged the fodder, at least he wouldn't have to worry about them straying. That winter, word got round that the lady wanted to sell some of her land and that the innkeeper on the highway was trying to agree on a price with her. The peasants took this news very badly. If that innkeeper gets his hands on that land, he'll start slapping even more fines on us than that manager. But we can't survive without it. We all depend on it for a living. So a few peasants in the name of the village commune begged the lady not to sell any of her land to the innkeeper and to let them buy it, offering her a better price. The lady agreed. Then the members of the commune thought of buying the whole estate. They met once, they met twice, but no progress was made. The devil had set them at loggerheads, and there was nothing they could agree upon. In the end, they decided to buy the land in separate lots, each according to what he could afford. The lady agreed to this as well. One day, Packham learned that one of his neighbors was buying about 50 acres and that the lady had taken half payment in cash, allowing the man 1 year to pay the balance. This made Packham very envious. They'll buy up all the land, he thought, and I'll be left with nothing. So he conferred with his wife. Everyone's buying land, he said. We must get hold of 20 acres or thereabouts. If we don't, we won't be able to live, what with that manager bleeding us white with fines. So they racked their brains as to how they could buy some of the land. They had 100 rubles saved up, so that by selling a foal and half their bees, by sending one of their sons out to work for someone who paid wages in advance, and borrowing from a brother-in-law, they managed to scrape together half the money. Then Packham took the money, chose about 30 acres of partly wooded land, and went up to the lady to see if he could strike a deal. He managed to get the 30 acres, they shook hands on it, and Packham paid a deposit. Then they went into town and signed the deeds, Packham paying half cash down and pledging to settle the balance within 2 years. And so Packham now had land. He borrowed money for seeds and sowed the newly bought land. The harvest was excellent. Within a year, he had repaid both the lady and his brother-in-law. Now he was a landowner, in the full sense of the word. He plowed and sowed his own fields, reaped his own hay, cut his own timber, and could pasture his cattle on his own land. Whenever he rode out to plow the land which was now his forever, or to inspect his young corn and meadows, he was filled with joy. He felt that the grass that grew and the flowers that bloomed were different from any other grass and flowers. Before, when he had ridden over that land, it had seemed the same way as any other. But now it was something quite special.